Hello, we're at it again. The world is what the world is, I suppose. I don't know if anyone's actually listening to this. It'd be hilarious if people actually do listen to the ramblings of a moron like myself, but who knows? So, what's going on in the world today? Well, recently, I don't know the exact date, but recently, Queen Elizabeth II's husband died, Prince Albert. I'm not much of a monarchist, but even I have to give the man credit for everything he's done for his country and in the name of his service to the institution that is the monarchy. Not too many guys like him. Not anymore. Especially not anymore. What else is going on? Uh, the biggest thing now, it's April 2021. Here I thought we would have a lot of things figured out by now. Turns out that was just naivete on my part. Democrat got into the presidency. Not that that matters much to me. Doesn't look like things have changed much, which is to be expected. After all, no government can coordinate much. And with this pandemic continuously going on, I can't really see it changing anytime soon. I don't know if I'll ever get a response to this, but I have to wonder. I've been hearing more and more about, the socialites and the progressives claiming neck beards for a lot of things. Now, I know I'm a bit on the overweight side. I'm not morbidly obese, but I could stand to lose about 20, 30 pounds. I'm not stupid. And I have actually begun to lose weight in accordance to a new platform called Eating Better and Being More Active. I'm surprised how well that works, but it works rather well. If the background's different than before, if anyone actually watches these videos, the main thing is I'm actually at home. I'm no longer at my parents' house. So, yeah, this is the dump I live in. It's actually not that bad of a house. And it is mine. There's no mortgage or anything like that. It leads to another stereotype I don't quite understand, which is how certain types of gamers, especially those that are like tabletop gamers, seem to be lumped into the category of basement dwelling mama's boys or something along those lines. I hate to say it, but I've been a tabletop gamer for a little over 10 years now, and I'll admit I'm no expert. But I will also admit that the tabletop games that I've gotten into in the past, well, they're not cheap. And even now, they're not cheap, especially here in Canada. So as a result, I actually have to work a job in order to afford my hobby. One of my many little hobbies. So, as you can imagine, it living in a basement really doesn't work for me, and I doubt it works for many others. If it does, it's only because they've gone broke paying for their hobby. Like a drug addict going for this next set of crack. Or meth, or whatever else they fucking snort up their nose these days. Let's see, what else? More riots going on, again. This time, also in my country, Montreal. There was a quarantine curfew introduced into the city. And suffice it to say, it was not very popular amongst the younger crowd. This led to some pretty violent uproars. Now, for Montreal to protest isn't anything new, especially amongst the younger generation. But for something like this, that surprised me a bit. Meanwhile, my favorite tobacco store has gone out of business. And, I looked down the main street of my town, and it's a small town, less than 1,000 people. And, less and less things are staying open afterwards. There's a good bet that a lot more people are going to go out of business because of this. And what is the government doing? Well, a little bit, but not enough. But that, again, is to be expected. We can't expect much from our government. Why? Because our government is incapable of actually doing anything that actually would make a difference in the time frame that we need it to happen. That's just the reality of our situation. Most governments are reactive and not proactive, and I wouldn't expect it any differently. What else was there I wanted to yammer on about? Oh, yeah. I'll have some time off until the 20th. Then I have to decide whether I'm going back to work or not due to contact tracing. Turns out that a guy at my work got COVID-19, and me and about 116 other people were basically exposed or in the vicinity of him. No vaccination shots were handed out, but I have been tested and proved negative. So basically, as a precaution, I can't go back to work until April 20th. Now, I'm not getting paid for that time. I don't know how it works in the United States or anywhere else, but in Canada, the time you spend at home, you're not getting paid for. There's no compensation, there's no nothing. The best you can hope for is unemployment, and by the time they're finished denying my request for unemployment, suffice it to say, I'm not expecting anything to come out of it because I should be returning to work afterwards. Maybe not for the same company. I mean, that site I was working on was rather hilarious, but that's to be expected. With everything the way it is nowadays, everything's chaos. No matter where I go to work, nothing is properly organized. No one seems to know what's going on, and it turns into having to make shit up as we go along. But chaos is cash, and well, I can stand around for 12 hours and maybe only work 8 of it. If they're willing to pay me and demand that I stay there that long, then so be it. It makes no difference to me. However, some of my training tickets are expiring, so I probably won't be going back to work after the 20th anyway, because I have to make sure that my certificates for my work, for the training that I need to do, are up to date. Failure to do that means, well, failure to be work ready. And you have to be work ready if you plan on going to work, even in the current times that we're in. Because OH&S doesn't really care about the pandemic. They care about worker safety, and those procedures are there for a reason. They say that, I don't know how it works in some places, but here in Alberta, Canada, the OH&S book, the Alberta Labor Law book, is literally written in blood. People have died before they finally got their shit together and put in regulations that, as vague as they are still regulations that must be followed. With the OH&S in particular giving direct guidance to anyone who wishes to be part of the workforce here in this country, because I think OH&S is federal. I could be wrong, but I think it's federal. And if it isn't federal, I don't mind being corrected on that. Let's see, what else is there? Other than that, not much has been happening. Hopefully, I can get my roof fixed. I am looking to do that. Again, I'll have to wait until after April 20th. Basically, right now, I'm in a holding pattern. I've been getting my food brought in by a food delivery service. You got to pay extra for it. But hey, best to do that than to risk exposing people. You just drop it off at my door and they leave. So I don't have to worry about that. And even though I tested negative, I am a bit paranoid. I'd rather wait the 20 days, just in case cops come by and go, wait a minute, what the hell are you doing? Kind of thing. With the province in lockdown anyway, there really isn't much open. All restaurants are basically curbside pickup or delivery. You can't sit down and eat anymore. The bars are all closed as far as I know. And the only alcohol you're going to be able to get is from the liquor stores. And even that, there are, regulations and shit like that have to be looked after. When this madness will end, I have no idea. It seems to me there's a new thing to be afraid of every time you turn on the fucking news, which is why I stopped watching it a long time ago. But I do pay attention when they do mention certain aspects of this coronavirus outbreak or COVID-19 or whatever the hell else you want to call it. At the end of the day, it seems that this virus isn't done mutating and it isn't done kicking our asses yet. However, as more and more vaccines roll out, as more and more options roll out, and as people generally become smarter, I see no reason why our governments can't keep things open next time rather than knee-jerk reactioning. That's probably not a proper word, but knee-jerk reaction to shutting everything down. Because at the end of the day, if nobody's working, like what little work I had is very, very limited. And if nobody's working and if nobody's spending that money, you're not restarting your economy. You're not helping your country. Because, of course, there's no taxes to be paid. People who don't pay do not pay taxes. It's as simple as that. So you kind of need these businesses operational. Economics is not complicated. I don't know why people seem to think it is. We have a mixed economical system. Basically, we use a old-fashioned barter system, aka capitalism, with a whole shit ton of regulations that stifle everything and choke the life out of entrepreneurs, aka Keynesian economics, which is a mixture of basically communist and Marxist regulations mixed with capitalistic open market, which doesn't work most of the time, but when it does work, it tends to work in our government's favor. And with a 30 to 40% income tax bracket going to the government every year, I can clearly see my money being not entering the government coffers because I'm simply not making it anymore. My overall yearly income for these past 2 years isn't looking too good. So as a result, government's not going to get that 30, 40%. They'd be lucky to get 15 out of me now. And there's no one to blame but themselves. They're not letting me work, and they're not letting me spend my money, and that money is not circulating back into the economy. Unlike my roof, which desperately needs to be fixed. I mean, part of the plaster down by the foyer fucking fell down because there was some water that leaked when the snow melted. And that's because the roof was leaking. And it's because the roof is shit, and I have to fix it. And that's my own damn fault. I didn't get on it fast enough. So hopefully after April 20th, with my tax return and everything coming in, hopefully it comes in on time. It never usually does, but if it does, for once, I'll be able to get my roof replaced. Hopefully. And if not, well, I'll get most of it replaced, even if I have to do it myself. Anyway, that's just me rambling off like an idiot. Think of it as you will. I'm not really political, but I can't help but be political in this current situation, where our politicians are not really looking out for our best interests, even though they think they are. And they have no idea that the bigger the grave, the harder it is to fill. Ralph Klein learned that the hard way here in Alberta, and as he tried to do Lockheed's 10-year plan in 3 years. He got it done, but holy crap did it cost us. Privatization isn't always the answer, but at the end of the day, if that's the system that we have, then you have to compete with the market that you create. The fact that ours province hasn't, due to its own ineptitude, clearly shows the stupidity of Kenny and his predecessors. The only thing I could say about Notley was at least she was honest. I'm not a big fan of the NDP, but at the end of the day, she had her list and she stuck to it. Kenny doesn't even have a list. I don't even know what the hell he's getting his ideas from. Maybe he's putting a little too much acid in his coffee or something. I don't know. But whatever it is, he needs to get himself fucking straightened out. The Alberta's economy needs to diversify, and we do have ways to do that. We've had ways to do that for decades. Now's the time to pull the trigger on it. Now's the time to tell Ottawa to go fuck yourself and prove that Alberta isn't just a golden goose that you can squeeze to death whenever you want. Now's the time to get our shit together, not just provincially, but federally as well. And when all this COVID stuff is finished, we should be able to just, or at least under control, we should be able to pull the trigger on a lot of these projects. Anyway, thank you for listening to my ramblings. See you next time.